Eastwood is a place where life is lived quietly. People keep their joys private and their sorrows even quieter. The Daniels fit right in with this exterior, or so it seemed. Behind the lawn and warm porch lights of the Juniper Street home lies a web of secrets waiting to be revealed. Lena Daniels is the glue that holds her family together. Her straightforward demeanor and open warmth endear her to neighbors and strangers alike. Her husband, Brian, a long-haul truck driver, is often away, leaving Lena to care for her teenage stepson, Trayvon, her younger daughter, Nia, and her oldest son from her first marriage, Michael. Trayvon is a difficult kid. At 16, he's a storm. Angry, restless, and full of questions he doesn't want to ask. Lena loves the boy fiercely but struggles with his temper and the scars of his troubled past. When Trayvon joined the family 2 years ago, he brought with him a painful past in foster homes. Lena has worked tirelessly to heal those wounds, but one damp night, Trayvon appears on the porch, his usual fire out. "Hey, Mom," he whispers. There's something in his voice, a heaviness Lena can't name. "He needs air," he says. She gives him space, but she doesn't know it will be the last time she sees him alive. The next morning begins with the clink of cereal bowls and the shuffling of shoes as the family rushes out the door. Trayvon, unusually quiet, barely touches his breakfast. Michael lingers, his watchful eyes on his half-brother as he leaves. That night, a storm hit Eastwood, not just rain, but the kind that tears families apart. A terrifying scream tore through the night. Lena rushed downstairs and found Michael pale and trembling in the hallway. "It's Trayvon," he whispered. Lena rushed to the back shed and found a horrifying scene, furniture overturned, blood staining the floor, and Trayvon's body lying motionless in the corner, his eyes wide with terror. Detective Samuel Hayes arrived, a seasoned investigator with sharp eyes and a salt and pepper beard. His questions were quick, his tone professional. But as he peeled back the layers of the Daniels family, he found more than grief. Trayvon's school records revealed quarrels and debts. Rumors spread about his relationships with people he shouldn't have met. To Lena, these were unthinkable lies. Trayvon was her son, her responsibility. Michael, usually Lena's rock, grew distant. His stares at the barn, his vague explanations for late-night outings, cracked his otherwise calm demeanor. Then came Brian, who returned from the road visibly shaken but emotionally distant. His grief felt hollow, his words rehearsed. Something didn't add up. The investigation deepens when a faded photograph is found in Trayvon's pocket. It shows a younger Lena smiling next to a man Lena hasn't mentioned in years, Jalen McKenzie, her ex-husband. Hayes reveals a chilling detail: Jalen had been released from prison just 3 weeks earlier and was now in Eastwood. Trayvon's notebook, discovered under the mattress, contains cryptic sayings like "they're watching and don't trust anyone." A folded letter tucked into Lena's blood-curdled pages: "Mom, if anything happens to me, don't trust anyone. Not even family. Especially Michael." Confronting Michael only makes Lena more fearful. He denies involvement, his anger barely concealing his fear. "Do you think I'd hurt Trey?" he screams before walking away. But the seed of doubt has been planted. Lena's search for answers leads her to Jalen, who admits that Trayvon asked for his help. A letter from Trayvon begs Jalen to meet him at the warehouse the night of his death. Jalen arrives late, only to find the police already there. Desperate to protect her family, Lena digs deeper into Brian's activities. She discovers he has a history with Bobby Dawson, a local crime lord involved in drugs and smuggling. Hayes confirms that Dawson's name has come up in multiple investigations, but no one can blame him. Lena also learns that Michael has been meeting with Dawson's crew. One night, while tailing him, she witnesses a deal in an abandoned warehouse, the same warehouse seen in Trayvon's photos. Michael's duffel bag contains stacks of cash, a pistol, and a notebook with the transactions. One item stands out: warehouse. Package for BD. No mistakes this time. The date coincides with the night Trayvon died. Lena confronts Brian about her findings. His defense falls apart when he admits the truth. Trayvon was drawn into Bobby's operation, acting as a courier. When Trayvon tried to retreat, Bobby threatened him. Brian tried to intervene but didn't have the courage to stop Bobby. "I didn't kill him," Brian insists. "But I knew it would happen." That night, Lena receives a text message from an unknown number. "If you want to see your son alive, come to the warehouse at 9 p.m. alone. No cops." Ignoring Hayes' warning, Lena goes in. Inside, she comes face to face with Bobby Dawson himself. Michael is tied up, bruised, but alive. Bobby smirks, his pistol pointed at her chest. "Your boys thought they could get away with it," he growled. "Trayvon paid. Now it's Michael's turn." Lena pleads for Michael's life, presenting the evidence she has collected against Bobby. But Bobby is not interested in a deal. As his henchmen point a gun at Michael's head, Lena fires her own gun, hitting Bobby in the arm. Chaos erupts. Brian arrives, his shotgun roaring as police sirens wail in the distance. In the ensuing gunfight, Michael grabs the gun from a fallen thug and shoots Bobby, ending his reign of terror. As dawn breaks, the Daniels sit in their bullet-riddled living room. Bobby Dawson is dead, but the scars he left behind will never fade. Hayes assures Lena that the evidence she provides will disrupt Bobby's operation and bring his accomplices to justice. But the Daniels have paid a heavy price. Trayvon's death hangs over them like a shadow. Michael, though alive, still carried the weight of guilt for his choices. And Lena, once the glue that held them together, felt the cracks in her family, deep and permanent. In the silence that followed, Michael turned to his mother. "I'm sorry," he whispered, tears streaming down his face. Lena pulled him close, her tears falling freely. "We'll be okay." The days after the warehouse showdown were filled with police reports, hospital visits, and whispered conversations with Detective Hayes. The Daniels were still alive, but their survival felt more like a narrow escape than a victory. The bullet that had hit Lena had been removed cleanly, leaving a bandaged wound that pulsed in time with her pulse, a painful reminder of how close she had come to losing everything. Hayes visited the house regularly, each time bringing updates on Bobby Dawson's destroyed network. "Your evidence is the nail in his coffin," he told Lena during one visit. "But there's still work to be done. Bobby's team won't give up easily. You and your family need to stay vigilant." Lena barely heard him. Her thoughts were consumed by Trayvon's absence, by the choices her family had made that led to his death. Michael rarely left his room, though he silently carried the guilt. Brian remained busy repairing the damaged house, though Lena knew he was avoiding the conversations they so desperately needed to have. One evening, Michael joined Lena on the porch, the same spot where Trayvon had sat on his last night. "I can't stop thinking about him," Michael said, his voice choked. "If I hadn't gotten involved with Bobby." "It's not your fault," Lena interrupted, squeezing his hand. "Bobby took advantage of all of us. But Trey made his own choices. The only way we can honor him is to be better together." Michael nodded, though the pain in his eyes remained. As the sun sets over Eastwood, Lena is determined to rebuild. The scars on their family will not disappear, but they can heal, slowly. For the memory of Trayvon and for the family he left behind, she will fight to make their home whole again.